Press the bell icon on the YouTube app to never miss a video from News Laundry.
Welcome to News Laundry Chhota Hafta. For the full episode, subscribe because it is behind the paywall and only subscribers get access to uncut, complete content. News Laundry Hafta is our weekly wrap of all that made the news, all that didn't, and all that should have and all that shouldn't have. We agree, we disagree, we critique, and occasionally we beat each other up. But it's all good fun. Subscribe.
This is a News Laundry podcast and you're listening to NL Hafta.
Welcome to another episode of Hafta in the searing heat of Delhi that can burn the skin of your back if you're outside, but we're not. We're indoors with an air conditioner running.
Your comfortable air-conditioned studio.
In a studio.
What do you know
politics.
about journalism?
What do we know
journalism.
anything? We're discussing from a comfortable air-conditioned studio. The bill for which is being paid by you subscribers. So thank you so much. Thank you for your support. We could do with a lot more. So spread the word. Also, I'd like to thank our two subscribers, Shoyoni and Swati, who joined me last Hafta. Got a lot of great feedback on your inputs. Hopefully, we'd like to get more subscribers in because we are always short of subject experts. So on that note, welcome panel. Angrez apna lagan aur news hafta kabhi nahi chhodte. When the public pays, the public is served, and when advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Support independent media. Subscribe to News Laundry. If you don't like us, subscribe to someone of your choice. Let me first introduce the panel to you. We have a guest, and I always mispronounce his name. It is Samrat, and I keep saying Samrat.
How can you say Samrat? There's no such word.
I know, but it's just something like Samrat. It's something compact about Samrat that is not about Samrat. Samrat. Anyway, Samrat is, he's been with several newspapers. He now lives in Shillong and he's in Delhi right now, which I was asking him, like, why would anyone in their sane mind do that?
I came to enjoy the weather.
You came to enjoy the weather, right? And Shillong is 21. Why do that when you can always get 44? So, in fact, Samrat has been with several organizations. The last full-time position he held was with the Asian Age. Is that right? After that was the last full-time position, right?
Well, that was the really long. I did I think 1.5 months as editor of the Free Press Journal, but that was long enough.
And now you write for several people, including News Laundry.
Yes.
And you're somewhat of an expert on Northeast issues because you are from there. Or is that a stereotype I'm kind of slotting you in?
Well, I mean, Northeast is 8 states. It's difficult to be an expert on everything and, all the states. But
Don't be humble, yeah. Go on or no. Everybody's an expert on everything.
No, but that's true. But the thing is, whenever I need any clarity on anything from the Northeast, I call you and you say, that's that state. And I'm in this state. And in your head, you must be saying this bloody Punjabi. Everything is butter makhana. Whatever, matar makhani. Anyway, that's Samrat. Also, our editor-in-chief, Madhu. Hi, Madhu.
Hello.
And our award-winning journalist, Manisha Pandey.
Now
Hello,
it's
Manisha.
been 2 years, yeah. Now I can't use that award-winning prefix.
So then win a new award. Now, earlier it was a compliment, now it's a tana. First I was your man, now I'm your sass.
Award-winning. Award-winning correspondent, really?
Not the headline, not fridge. Anyway, so on that very...
Might as well end it with award-winning correspondent. Ta-na-na-na-na, ta-na-na-na-na.
Exactly. कैसी आजकल लड़कियां आ जाती हैं. So, well, there's lots has happened this week. The most... I want to start with something before I forget. On the Major Gogoi case. Because that had many aspects and everyone was merging it. Not everyone. Many people are merging it into like one big aate ka gola and throwing it around. So I'd like to discuss that because that happened the day we recorded Hafta, so we couldn't include it because we just finished recording. Other than that, there's the bank strike. Maybe someone can shed light on what the bank employees want and what they won't get. And the Tejpal Tapes, which Times now aired, which there has been a complaint against, it not only was in violation of the law, which I still would, shrug off if it was for a larger ethical cause. It was terribly poor taste as well. Then there was a sting operation, Cobrapost 136, Operation 136, which made headlines only on social media, but big media was pin drop silent on it because pretty much everyone was part of that. Then there was Pranab Mukherjee's visit to RSS, which yesterday was dominating headlines. I personally don't think what the big deal is. I mean, but we'll get what the rest of the panel has to say about that. Kumar Vishwas apologized to Jaitley, blames Kejriwal. So after his grandstanding saying, "Main hi maafi manguga, chahe sar kade mundi ude," and now he's not only said sorry, he's also said sorry, uski galti thi. So much for that then.
But why did all these people apologize?
Dude, who's going to keep going to court?
Yeah, how do you fight these cases?
You have 22 people who filed case against you for insulting them or whatever this thing. You will be making court appearances every day.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, so
That's what you do, because when there are enough, all news organizations have enough cases filed against them. They keep going. They can't do anything about it.
They have
Politicians
lawyers
have case. No, sometimes they deliberately are usually filed in some small village town somewhere, and
But
the
lawyers
editor they insist on the editor-in-chief
I don't
going.
know. I know that a lot of people say a lot of things from the podium. They were just all the cases filed on Arvind, and he had to make personal appearances at least in Delhi and in the Punjab. Then the citizenship bill, which you can tell us about, Samrat in Assam. There's been a huge backlash against it. I'd like to know a little more about that as well. And Rajnikant's Kaveri comments cast a shadow over Kala. Like, you know, if anyone, all your listeners out there thought Punjabis are the only ones who are a little off in the head, there's a film which will be predictably shit called Kala, which will have Rajnikant and people going insane over a crappy film. But because of what he said about the Kaveri, people are saying that we will not watch Kala. Chalo, it's a win-win. CBI files a case against AirAsia CEO Tony Fernandes, civil aviation ministry officials and others for alleged corruption. About time. Then an Air India air hostess accuses senior executive of sexual harassment. And the chilling killing of a young 18-year-old child, I'd say, 18-year-old child, BJP party worker in...
20-year-old.
20?
Yeah.
Achha,
The age hardly matters. The whole thing is so disgusting.
Yeah.
With a note on it.
No, but I thought the note said because
It
you should
says
stay
that-
out of politics when you're so young at 18 or
No,
something.
he said that since you've been supporting BJP since the time of you were 18.
Oh, since you were
We've
18.
been trying to get you, and now we
but
finally
as
got
Madhu
you.
says, anyway, it was a
Yeah.
horrible thing to have happened. And there were total of, I think, 14 bypolls today, 11 Vidhan Sabha bypolls. And sorry, Atul sir, 3 or 4 Lok Sabha? 4 Lok Sabha bypolls, and so far out of the results are out as we are recording right now in the late afternoon of Thursday, the 31st of May. The BJP has won just one of those Vidhan Sabha and one Lok Sabha. Am I right? All the rest having gone to Congress. One has gone to that Praful Patel's party. What's it called? NCP. RJD
Samajwadi Party is also one.
RJD has wrested one seat from JDU.
Yeah.
So, yeah, doesn't look well for the BJP. And of course, Kairana, BJP lost.
Yeah.
Where Ajit Singh's party, what's it called? Lokdal?
RLD.
Has fielded a candidate and she has won. It's a she, right? It's a Muslim lady.
The only Muslim lady now in the UP Assembly.
So, yeah, lots happened. So, and we have 2 emails about last week's Hafta. NL subscriber Manjari says, Dear New Zealand team, I was very impressed with the coherence and clarity in the discussion with Swati and Shoyoni. All 3 came ready to listen to each other and both agree and disagree. Abhinandan stated that Al Franken resigned due to allegations by Tweeden. In fact, he resigned after multiple allegations of misconduct, not assault. I stand corrected, Manjari, thank you. I agree all misconduct or assault is not equivalent, nor are they being treated that way by law at least. Please try not to frame these debates as men versus women, us versus them. If young men are confused on when to draw the line in dealing with women, young women are not given agency and are shamed when they are unable to express what they are comfortable with. If all were given equal rights and responsibilities, we wouldn't need to take sides. Very good point. The ether we are swimming in is flawed, so the strokes will be. Any comments? And she has given link to a scroll article. Government plans to monitor individual social media users to gauge opinion about officials and policies. Well, Madhu has a comment on that. Manjari, I'll let you know she has. Madhu, you told me this a long time ago. What, has the news come out right now or is it the same old news?
There's more. I'm just waiting to download the story that has just come in from Scroll, where somebody has filed, I just saw the headline.
Against an IMC professor?
They filed, the INB ministry gets a legal notice for floating tender to create tool to analyze social media activity.
So Manjari, my view on that is actually, I like Samrat says, I think it's already being done. I don't know now, they're tendering
it's the Internet Freedom Foundation.
Right.
Has a non-government organization, has filed, asked the Ministry of INB to recall a tender for creating the social media this thing.
And the last point Manjari makes is, here's an endorsement to fund independent media. It's from the book On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century by Timothy Snyder. Thank you, Manjari. That was a really well-articulated letter, and you just took 179 words. I should learn from you. On the book, I think, recommended it right here on the Hafta on recommendations once. It's a really thin book, and I recommend everyone read it. And tell me who they think of once they've read it.
Say the title again.
It's called On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from 20th Century by Timothy Snyder. It's an amazing book. So yeah, on that. Now, coming back to the Hafta, and also listen to Manjari, listen to Timothy Snyder, subscribe. And Mufat Khors, subscribe. Support independent media. Mufat Khors, you also consider being not such conjuses. If you can spend $300 on a pack of cigarettes and, equal amount on underwear, you can surely, buy a couple of months subscription. Okay, then moving on to, I now didn't watch this prime time. I've been in the hills for 4 days, so I haven't watched much prime time. But what you can just tell me about this the Times Now tapes that they played? What does the tape show? Why did Times Now delete their tweet later?
I think they even pulled down Rahul Shivshankar's show from YouTube.
Oh.
That's what at least Cherry was telling me.
Can you just ask if they can do that to like all his shows?
Yeah, I think.
and lock him up and like just feed him through a like window. And just make sure that the walls are padded in the room where he's been kept.
Yeah.
Sorry. So what
You're
was
so
it?
mean. You're a mean girl.
Says Mother T.
You're a mean girl.
So I only have a theory on this, which is that this came 2 days after the Cobrapost sting. I think Times just wants to hit out at Cobrapost, Anirudh Bahl, who was associated with Tehelka. So instead of hitting out at him, they're trying to hit out at his former associate, because there's no news value to those tapes right now. It's not like the trial is about to happen.
So what was the tape? The tape is of a CCTV.
It was just the CCTV footage, which Manu Joseph had actually written about it in his piece in Outlook.
I remember that,
he described what the elevator saw was the headline. So here they showed the tapes and said that she's coming from here, she's doing this, and Tejpal is doing that. So just basically describing the 2 days
But the
CCTV
people are just
footage.
walking in and out. No one's doing anything in the tape.
Well, what you're seeing in the... I mean, yeah, you can't make much out of it.
What was the news evidence? What was the news value
There
of this?
was no news value in it. That's what I'm saying. It was just, and then Rahul Shivshankar is like, you can see her adjusting her clothes, and you can see her do this, and now and it was just voyeuristic kind of.
And they ran a 1 hour show on this.
They ran
Two, because
2 hours.
Navika did it also.
And Rahul Shivshankar, and then all they did was kept talking about what is being seen, I'm just The point of the show was...
This is what they said, how they presented it. They said, Navika is shouting that it took him 5 years to bring this out, to fight, to give his, to use this evidence, and it took him 5 years. He had applied to get the footage. The court wasn't giving it. It took him 2-3 years to get it out.
It was at the court all this time.
It wasn't like it was easily available to him. So those are the facts of the case.
They were
I'm not
basically-
saying in any way that Tarun is innocent of whatever he's been charged of. But what I'm saying is that showing it like this, by slanting the viewers to say, watch this, watch that and all that. First of all, the viewers, most of them are not privy, even journalists are not privy to the details of her evidence. So if you compare the details of her evidence to what you're seeing in the footage, is what the judge is supposed to do. To take that evidence
And put it out in the
and
public.
put it out in the public, it can actually call for a mistrial. So this is the worst thing to do, because it messes up.
Actually,
messes it up for the
Point
victim.
was just trying to hit out at
in trying to
Tejpal.
hit out Tejpal, they might have helped him.
No, I don't think they were trying to hit out. I think they were just trying to distract with any story.
Yeah, they're too dumb to hit out. I think it was just... I think they were just trying to somehow hit at Anirudh Bahl. The best way to do it was his former associate. There's already a case against him. So just bring those tapes out and distract.
But Anirudh has nothing to
It's
do
just-
with Tarun
Tarun
anymore.
anymore. Yeah, probably they don't
But
know that.
maybe,
But
yeah.
going by their investigative reporters, they don't know that, which everyone in Delhi knows. That, Tarun and Anirudh hardly even speak anymore. But their Khufia reporter probably did not know that. I see. So basically, Times Now has found a new low. Every week they find a new low.
Yeah.
Okay, now...
But what surprised me was that how many people of the journalistic community on Twitter and WhatsApp reacted to Times Now's programs, saying that it is wrong, it is illegal, they're using evidence that is sitting in court. And I was surprised by the reaction, because most journalists would, I would imagine, not be in favor of Tarun Tejpal in any way. And so I was surprised that
I think that's got to do with times now more than anything else.
No, but also it's just not fair to the girl also. You're just bringing out those tapes, you're trying to like...
I'm hoping they had morphed the image, right?
Yeah, but...
No, nothing.
They had morphed...
No, wait.
No, they had morphed it, but it's still...
They hadn't morphed it, you can't see it anyway.
You can't see
It's
it
very
anyway,
blurry.
but
It's
also
CCTV
then to
footage.
just pass judgments, make someone relive what they've gone through.
No, and then they put a clock, a timer on the footage, okay? So now it is so many seconds, and it takes 7 seconds to go to the second floor. And then then what happened in those 7 seconds? So that
Basically
means something was happening in the lift. But hello, they might have stepped out of the lift, gone to the room and to talk to Robert De Niro or whatever, and then they get back into the lift 7 minutes later, and then the lift doesn't stop on the way at all, and it comes out, and watch this, here they come out.
Yeah,
it was just in bad taste.
Yeah.
The thing is that any of this sort of story that gets reported, it's always reported so sensationalistically, and always. So even when the story originally broke, when was it?
It was 2014. 2013, sorry. It was, I think, a year before the election. A year.
So, but whenever it was, I mean, I remember I was there at the Think Festival, and then from there.
So was I missed it all.
Yeah,
I had no idea all this was happening.
And then from there I went off to the Angkor Photo Festival in Cambodia, and the story was, followed till there.
Oh my God, okay.
But the thing is that I think what happens is there's again a lot of salacious interest in these stories, and our traditions of reportage in these matters, I think, are heavily inspired by Sansani on the one hand and crime and detective on the other.
Yeah.
And between those two,
this is what you get. Even prime time goes down that route. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I was not surprised because times now is just really going off. I genuinely think, and I'm not saying this like in a funny way, I don't think many of our prime time, especially RSS and Navika, if you were to put them through a psychological test, they would not pass it. A normal person cannot be like that. It's just not possible. Thank you for that, panel. I just want to read a letter from a subscriber. This is from Sonali Singh. Sonali says, I'm glad you took help from subscribers to develop a deeper understanding of gender at the workplace and at News Laundry. It had been superficial indeed. Here are a couple of points only to highlight. Not all of us think the same, like it was implied. The conversation related to the Farooqi judgment was limited because only one had read it. Reasonable doubt is right there, and I applaud the court. The Nirbhay reference is especially ludicrous in the matter. I urge Swati and Shoyoni to read it. And not being able to have a clear table of numbers of gropes and corresponding penalty is making light of those in the profession of pronouncing judgments after a lifetime spent understanding what the law states and intents and means and lacks, and is expecting the law to help us define our relationships, not just negotiate our conflicts. I have done a role a very long time ago in an organization that allowed me a direct view into sexual harassment cases, among other matters of human frailty. And having worked closely with the legal teams, such matters are complex but not difficult. And that was just a tiny element of what our courts go through. The conversation in the workplace, while indispensable, is disproportionately all around us when the real difference in future generations can be made more at home by the people who one grows up with. Hoping for fear of action by the assaulted, rediscovering their rights as human beings, is unidimensional for change and punitive by intent. Sex is nuanced. We as women need to explore sex as a topic and experience beyond compliance issues. Conversations and lengths being applied only of reproductive benefits, patriarchal rights, or consent is indeed a tad hysterical. A deliberate use of the word now that we know its etymology. Best, Sonali. Thank you, Sonali. You've covered 4 very important points and you've covered them really well. Appreciate that mail and thank you for writing in. And you Mufat Khors who are wondering why your mails haven't been written, but you फोकट में नहीं पढ़ते हैं तुम्हारी mail. पैसे वैसे दो. हम भी paid news है, paid news. हम तभी तुम्हारी news पढ़ेंगे जब तुम pay करोगे.
सुन लिया Afrika, Mufat Khoron. Not to brag or anything, but News Laundry Hafta features in the top 50 in the world on SoundCloud in the news and politics category for podcasts. So do subscribe and see what you're missing, because when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served. Subscribe, help keep news independent and free.
All News Laundry podcasts are available on iTunes and Stitcher and any other podcast platform.